Listen, we've come to like the moment in the endless pre-construction condo disaster that we've just started to reach peak fuckery. That's it. We're headed for the peak. You remember that we've talked in other posts on this channel. We put up videos on this channel that talk about blanket appraisals for condos. So you buy a condo 6 years ago, you paid $1,300 a square foot. Today it's worth $900. That's a massive loss. Seriously, it's worth $900 because right across the street from the one and you're finishing now, you're finishing in say February, and right across the street from your $1,400 a square foot condo, you paid $1,400 a square foot. You gave 20% down payment. And right across the street, they're selling for $900, $875, right across the street. Not an old building. It's only like a 2-year older building than yours. It's all the same. So you're doomed. You overpaid ridiculously and you are completely screwed now. So behind the scenes, the developer has a bank or a group of banks, the lead banker on his development, his $500 million development loan to build the building. They say, well, listen, we have a blanket appraisal approach. So if you have your tenants who may be having a problem or could have a problem with an appraisal, because obviously the appraiser is going to say, yeah, it's worth $950, it's worth $875, whatever. It's worth far less, which makes it much, much more difficult for you to get a mortgage because you've got to come up with a difference between the purchase price and the actual appraised value. You got to come up with a difference. If you're in the mortgage business, you have to use that new appraisal as the value of the property. So to get around that, there's blanket appraisal. Oh yeah, we've got a couple of appraisals who should say that, yeah, we got an opinion of value and it's all good. And yeah, we have blanket appraisal. So the blanket appraisal is the purchase price, says the bank who typically is given the development loan. Okay, like it's the purchase price. So because the bank understands they would rather not have a problem with the development loan, get the whole condo corporation closed, get all the suites with a mortgage, get all the units with a mortgage, and then we'll pay off the construction loan. And that's good. That's a $500 million potential problem gone. And now we got a bunch of little mortgages that we can, we have recourse on those people. We can chase those down. Better to have a lot of little problems than one huge unmanageable problem. Okay. So that's starting to run out a bit. Like the bank regulator, the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions, who's the Canadian bank regulator, is starting to get a little antsy about blanket appraisals. They're going to go, the press, it's in the news, it's talking about it. There's some fat bastard talking about it on the YouTube. Like it's a lot of people talking about it. And the bank regulator never wants to be embarrassed. Like, that's because a question comes up, hey, what do you think about these blanket appraisals? And you don't want to have to answer that question. So their bank regulator is starting to send out the vibe. It's a vibe session. No, I'm kidding. They're setting out the idea quietly, because the bank regulator does everything with banks pretty damn quietly. Okay. Sends out the message, hey, we're going to back off these blanket appraisals. It's a bad look now. Like if it's 35% less in reality, if the price has fallen, the value's fallen. Price stayed the same, the value dropped. Don't manipulate that. Just don't do it. Don't use blanket appraisals. It hasn't fully gone. There's still some happening every day. Okay, because hey, banks push back too against the regulator. But in some cases, it's starting to become less prevalent. So of course, new trick. Let's do a new trick to get these values up so we can close these condos, because God knows we need to. So my friend John Pasalis found out about this one. John Pasalis runs a great company called Relosophy, and just look him up. John Pasalis is a must follow. He's on this. He's on YouTube. He's everywhere. You got to follow him. He's great. So he found this situation in Kitchener-Waterloo where the developer who sold all kinds of condos for $1,000 a square foot, and literally every surrounding condo of this development, the older ones, the ones that are a couple of years old, are $600 a square foot. Like every goddamn one of them, okay? So the guys who bought for $1,000 could be in a very deep problem, and maybe even Blanket Appraisals not going to save them. So guess what happens? John discovers, and you got to understand the way condos work. So the developer sells 75, 80%, 70% of the condo, pre-sale, big deposits, gets the bank mortgage to build it, gets the construction mortgage, builds it. But they always hold some back. They hold like 10% back, 15% back. Some hold none. Center Court's smart. They don't hold any. But most developers hold back. They purposely don't sell 10 or 15% of the units, maybe even more, because they believe the bullshit themselves. Like they actually believed 6 years ago, yeah, man, we're selling them for $1,000 a square foot. I think they might be worth $1,200 by the time we get there. We can make some extra money here. No, you're ridiculously wrong. So there's these units that are held back that the developer controls. So in this Kitchener-Waterloo situation, suddenly a numbered company shows up who starts buying these units from the developer, because you can sell them whenever you want. You don't have to wait for closing. You can sell them when you want. Starts to buy them for full price, the full $1,000 a square foot price. Not just one, but several. So John's scratching his head and he's looking into it, and nobody seems to know where this numbered company came from. Like, it wasn't Patrick Brown in Brampton who's buying some real estate in a numbered company. I got to keep an eye on Patrick. It was mystery. So could it possibly be somebody associated with the developer who's buying those units at this high price that right across the street you could pay 40% less for? Is it possible the developer organized that to create a comparable, to say, no, just show if you need an appraisal to finish your mortgage and get closed on our new beautiful building here in Kitchener-Waterloo for $1,000 a square foot, you just tell the appraiser to look at these people who just finished paying these units. It's in the system. We can show you they have sold. They have sold for the full price, full asking price, full purchase price. That's it. $1,000 a square foot. Is that maybe some trickery, some fuckery to produce false comparables? To allow to allow an appraisal on the rest of the building to work? Is that possible? Yeah, I'm not saying for sure, but I think it's possible.